Hey, this is Cam Shea, and I'm joined by Dillon Buckner, a member of the publishing team for, what's this game called, Dillon?
Legends of Runeterra.
Legends of Runeterra. Now, this is a CCG from Riot Games. It's just been announced, or just been unveiled, and it's super exciting. And so we thought we might just hop in and play just a game against the AI with a starter deck, nothing too fancy, just to get a sense for what this game's all about and why it's really different to anything else out there.
Cool, let's hop right in. So we're gonna get into here, and we do have that starter deck you talked about.
And so what are the two regions for this deck?
Yep, so Legends of Runeterra is featuring, as we announced, 6 of the regions of Runeterra, those being Demacia, the Freljord, those are the two that are included in this deck, Piltover and Zaun, the Shadow Isles, Noxus, and Ionia.
Right.
So these are very well-known regions for any League of Legends fan, and even the non-League fans will find out that they're hopefully rich with identity. So this deck we are going with here is, again, a combination of Demacia and Freljord. And what we're going to get out of that is essentially kind of a ramp experience is the best way to put it for fans of the genre. Freljord in particular likes to win the long game, and Demacia has a pretty heavy top end as well to kind of get you there. So that is what we're going to be hopping into. Oh, like that.
I think thematically, I'd probably just go Noxus and Shadow Isles.
I am a big fan. Those Shadow Isles is our kind of call it Death Matters region. That's kind of their big thing. And Noxus is your aggressive, kind of highly overstatted with some downsides, aggressive right out of the gate kind of faction.
So just give me a quick overview. How many cards in a deck?
Gotcha.
How many copies of a card are allowed? And how do the champions factor into that?
Cool. So decks in this game are 40 cards max. You can have up to 6 champion cards within that. And what champions are is that they are kind of the build around kind of tentpole cards of our game. They're not universally powerful in every situation, but if you really kind of build around them and work to level them up, which is their unique mechanic, they'll really pay off for you. So let's see here. So we've got our opening hand. Much like with any game in this genre, we're looking for a decent curve to start, and we actually have some pretty solid starter cards here. So I'm actually liking what I see. I think I'm actually just going to keep this.
Keep them all.
So we are up against the Scout's Honor AI deck. That is Ionia and then Piltover and Zaun. So we can expect a ton of trickery from these guys.
And we're starting off with 1 mana crystal, but
so polite of him.
each turn, steadily increasing incremental resources to work with.
Yes, so the mana system of Legends of Runeterra is that you get 1 mana per round. The interesting wrinkle that we've added is you will see these 3 little circles around the side of the mana dial, and those represent spell mana. Spell mana is essentially rollover mana. If you have excess mana at the end of your turn, at the end of a round, up to 3 of it, assuming you have none already, will roll over into spell mana.
Banked.
Yeah, it'll get banked to spell mana, which can be specifically used to cast spells further on into the game.
So you could theoretically have a deck that doesn't have a good early curve, because you're banking the ability to remove something when you do start your game plan.
Absolutely. It gives you a really cool ability to kind of shift your point of emphasis, your tempo, things like that, around between rounds, around like across rounds, which is a really kind of cool novel feeling we're getting out of this game. So in this case, we do fortunately have some pretty good one-drop options. This is another faction of the Freljord you get here. Cards that when they're summoned, they'll actually buff your deck. So that's what we're doing here. Right. We've got a relatively weak unit that's actually going to buff units in our deck. Oh man, oh man. Okay, turn 1 Teemo.
Fan favorite, right?
Turn 1 Teemo. Yes, League of Legends fans are going to be excited to see this one. So Teemo here, had to be included. He is one of the champion cards for the Piltover and Zaun faction.
Pop the full screen art.
Will do. Here we go. We can see Teemo in his shroom farm. People have wondered for so long where all those shrooms come, and one of the nice things about this game is we put a lot of effort into the art, and all cards feature really full art, like we're seeing here. And you get to it's always fun to pop these open and get to see what's sitting in the background. A lot of little hidden things that you don't see at first glance.
And you also instantly get the sense that there's more to a champion than just this one card.
Yeah.
You've got the level up form.
Yep. So anytime this is a big thing that we're trying to do is make sure that anytime you're looking at cards, you get to see a sense of the associated cards that go with it, and champions in particular, you see that a lot. So again, I mentioned that unique level up mechanic. So the way that Teemo kind of works here is that when he hits the enemy nexus, which is the enemy player essentially, he's going to put poison puff caps on random cards in the enemy deck. And then his level up mechanic is that once you've planted 15 plus of those, he will level up. Now, level up is a mechanic shared by all champion cards, but the how you get there and then the results of that vary immensely by champion.
They're kind of like mini quests for each champion.
Exactly. So we think this is just it's fun experiences for people to pursue, kind of just like an additional thing to feel like you're winning as you're playing, and then also we have designed them kind of across art, gameplay, and everything to really be just kind of these like seminal moments in the game that like kind of things can totally turn around in that moment.
Right. They're payoffs for
exactly.
your deck building choices.
Yep. So here we see the leveled up version. He's gained a bit of a stat boost. He still has elusive, which means that he can only be blocked by another elusive unit. And now he actually doubles the amount of poison puff caps in the enemy deck with every strike.
Right.
Yeah, so that can get truly out of hand. And then we can see what those do. Which is that they are trap cards. So every time you draw one out of your deck, you're going to draw another card, and you will have one damage dealt to your nexus. So you can imagine, first you get a couple of these in your deck. You're not really running into any. It's not really a big deal. But when there's 200 in your deck and you've only had 40 cards to start, it starts to become a very real problem. Go very poorly for you very quickly. We do see one other card here. Which is another unique element of champions. So champions are kind of such a focal point that, and also just unique characters that we really wanted to make sure that we weren't seeing multiples of them just all the time on the battlefield. So what actually happens is if you draw a second copy of a champion card while you have one out in the battlefield, it will temporarily turn into a unique dedicated spell, which is a spell that basically seeks to further that champion's strategy in order to aid them in leveling up. If your champion on the battlefield were to die, the card would turn back into a champion, so you're not really losing anything in that moment. And if you do cast it, you actually shuffle a copy of the champion in your deck. So you're really never losing anything is kind of the idea here. And we see what this does, which is just add some more shrooms to that deck.
Just as if Teemo got a strike in, right?
Yep,
So,
exactly. So I'm scared because this is an excellent turn one play. So we are actually going to just pass here. And this is actually where I can talk a little bit about the active round system that this game is built around. So, it's much like a lot of what we've done with this game. It all started with...
You want to attack though, right?
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I got so excited.
Because maybe Teemo's silly enough to try and block.
It's possible here. We'll see. Okay, he's not that silly,
falling
fortunately.
for it. All right.
Cool.
That was my strategy.
There you go.
I don't know what we're going to do
Thanks
now.
for the reminder. We got one in. So as you saw right there with end round, the way this game actually works is we kind of started with the baseline of how do we change the kind of dynamic that has kind of dominated digital card games as we've experienced them, where you kind of have to trade between accessibility and depth. We just weren't really happy with those being like such a trade-off, and we wanted to find a way to kind of have our cake and eat it too here. So through a lot of experimentation around this, what we kind of landed on is complexity and depth are key in certain elements of the game. Basically, at certain moments, like when you have like a really cool combat going or a spell chain going. Those are the moments where you really want to be interacting with your opponent, having a ton of choice and options and everything like that. And so we've kind of structured the game in such a way where you and your opponents are trading actions back and forth, and that can proceed relatively quickly, as we just saw there. That was each of us taking a turn essentially, as it would work for another game. And where it starts getting more interesting, we're going to see a lot more granularity and the ability to like constantly throw actions back and forth. And that's really the overall here, is that we just wanted to make sure that you're kind of locked in a really like intimate contest with your opponent at all times. You're not just piloting your deck in isolation. You're not all tabbing while they're taking their turn or anything. It is always they go, you go, back and forth, over and over until everybody's exhausted their resources and we pass to the next round.
And we're certainly going to see some of that as the game progresses. But let's quickly touch on the fact that you were able to play a creature to the board and attack in that turn.
Yes.
And your opponent didn't. And so we had this like sword and shield symbol, which has now swapped across.
Yes. So this is the other element here. So we want this to be a competitive, aggressive game, and one of the elements of that is that you and your opponent are going to be swapping your attack token back and forth each turn. So on each of the turns, one person, you can see this by the shield or the sword icon you mentioned, is going to be designated as the attacker.
Yep.
And they're going to be able to make an attack as one of their actions that turn. As you mentioned, all creatures are able to act the turn they come out.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, and really just kind of plays into that. You and your opponent are locked tightly together. It's not you're not building up slowly in isolation. Everything the action starts right away. So we've actually got a couple options here.
Do we have any removal?
We do have some removal, which I think I'm going to use in this case because
Yep.
I'm terrified of Teemo. So this is going to cost me.
Although it could be kind of funny if we just let him do his thing and then died against the AI.
It is possible. It is possible. We'll see. We'll see how effectively he's able to pull it off. Let's give him a sec. So if I do drop this one out, I can potentially use this spell on a unit that's bigger than Teemo and be able to have my unit survive, even though Teemo does not. So we'll go there. All right, he's coming in. Let's see here. His mana is exhausted, so I think I'm going to be able to block here. That one has elusive as well, so I'm not going to be able to block it.
Right.
This one has quick strike, but fortunately is smaller, so that's not going to bother me in this case.
And so the choice to block feels like a Magic the Gathering kind of inspired mechanic. Like it feels like a return to that kind of concept.
There are different models you can go for here, whether you're attacking enemy units, whether you're attacking the enemy player, other models besides that. We felt that in this case, this was the option that created the most player choice.
Right.
That really is what it's about at the end. Anytime we can create player choices, especially if we're not inducing kind of like unfortunate levels of complexity or too many clicks, like that's the option we want to go for. All right, so what we actually have here is potentially even better. So we have a card here, so check this guy out. So Laurent Protege, 3 costs, 2/4, Challenger. Very fun mechanic we're going to see in a sec. Fortunately, though, because we played this guy earlier, we actually have a slightly bigger one that we've now drawn out of our deck. This guy's 3/5. So we're actually going to draw this one out. You get to see what Challenger does. Challenger is one of my favorite mechanics in this game. All right, summon 2 Scrapbots. So he's going to summon some small guys. This is one of the traits that Piltover runs on. You see a lot. Spells that can do a ton of things, even in creating, including creating units in this case. Cool. So we don't really care a ton about these. We'll keep this one back actually, because but this guy here has done his job, and you see these hook icons that have popped up over here. That is Challenger, my friend. You can decide to attack.
Override elusive and force the trade.
Directly attack pretty much anything. So this is kind of again another way of having our cake and eating it too, like I talked about earlier, where we have chosen that attack the player style, but it's fun to also have the option to, in some cases, if you build around it, attack creatures directly as well. All right, so let's go in there and let's do this. So he does have 1 mana. It's possible we could do something tricky. He's going for the block.
Yeah, I mean, you can return cards to hand and do stuff like that.
And one thing we're really trying to do is just make sure things move forward at the quickest pace possible without really sacrificing choice. You'll see here in some cases the button is actually automatically taking an action on its own. It's recognizing that I don't really have...
There's nothing you can do.
Yeah, there's nothing else that can be done in this situation. Okay, what does this guy do here? So we've got Last Breath, create a random epic in hand. Okay, so this is going to create a random, pretty wacky card is kind of the idea when he bites it. So let's see, we are on defense this turn. We've got a couple options. Ooh, I really like the idea of buffing up our Challenger guy, so I think I'm gonna go for that one. When this guy drops out, he is going to grant an ally +2/+2. Getting a big Challenger beat stick is a really great way to control kind of the pace of the game.
Absolutely.
So we've got a couple options here. I don't think I just want to take beatings from this guy. Let's see here. I don't really have much I'm going to be doing with this one. Let's see. Now let's save it. Let's go with this. Yeah, let's go that way.
Right, so you're only choosing the blocker when you're attacking because obviously you're blocking right now. So.
Yep, pretty standard.
And then what about the electricity here on this one?
So this is one of the keywords. I mentioned it, so I actually had it wrong. It's quick attack, actually. So this is one of the ones I mentioned earlier. So this is while attacking, strikes before its blocker. Different games handle this differently in terms of whether it happens on both sides of combat or just one. We like the effect here in terms of really rewarding aggression and making sure that you don't end up with anything that's just a true brick wall or anything like that. and also a deadly force. So we've got that, and I think we're gonna go with those blocks. So you're seeing there's a moment as well, like neither of us has mana in this case, where there's actually going to be a response window, and both players can play spells potentially in the middle of combat. We haven't quite gotten to that yet in this game, but we'll see if we're able to at some point.
Yeah, I found it quite an interesting kind of learning curve, seeing how many actual opportunities there are to spend your mana and, take actions on your turn, on your attacking turn and your opponent's attacking turn.
Yeah.
It's really so nuanced. And I'm only just starting to get a feel for when to hold off because I'm so used to just spending my mana.
Yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying that. It really does come back to what I said about just options. We just want you to have options within because within options is player creativity, cleverness getting rewarded, and all those kinds of things. There are constant times where I'm showing people this game for the first time. They're like, "What do I do?" I'm like, "I don't know, man. I'm no math whiz. There are 6 different things you could do here, and I got a sense that some are maybe better than others, but I don't know for sure." Yeah. And that's just a really fun thing. There's just a great kind of mastery path here. So let's see. So we are on the attack. We're whittling his board down pretty well. We could drop another challenger guy. Oh man, we got another one of these. I think what we're gonna do here, this looks good.
The challenge is just to keep controlling the board, right?
It's just a really strong option. I'm a big fan of that. And this leaves us, fortunately, with the addition of our spell mana, the option to cast some spells as well. So we can take a quick look here as well. So we see 2 of our spell types here. We've got Fast on this single combat. Fast denotes that you're able to use this card responsibly as kind of part of that spell chain I talked about. And then we've actually got Burst as well. So this is another example where we really wanted to just make sure that we weren't having any unnecessary clicks. And what we identified at one point in our development is that there were certain spells that really just didn't need to have kind of an interaction window, and that pushing those into us saved us some crucial clicks. And that really is, just something we always want to keep an eye on as an opportunity to just keep the game moving along snappily, and making sure that when we demand extra attention from the player, that there's actually something meaningful to be doing there, meaningful choice.
So spells can be slow, fast, or burst. So burst, you play it, it happens instantly.
Just happens instantly.
No response from your opponent. Fast.
Fast
they do get the chance to respond.
Yeah, fast are ones that can be done in response and are able to be responded to.
Right.
And then slow can be responded to, but their thing is just that you can only really play them as your action, essentially. You cannot play them in response to other spells.
I see. Got it.
Yeah, so breaking those out into that has again given us some of that granularity to really just make sure that all of these are kind of suiting the effect. And you can kind of imagine the types of effects that will happen at those different windows. We see here we've got buffs. That's something that's pretty common in a burst spell. We've got removal, which is very common in fast spells. And then when you see the truly devastating kinds of things, those are going to be the slow ones.
Right. So what do we got on the board right now? We've got heaps, because we've got a 2-1 that can potentially...
Yeah, we've got this 2-1 that's kind of just been hanging around because we haven't wanted to trade him yet. We've got a 3-1 that's kind of similar. He's done his job already. And then we've got these 2 challenger guys, which we're really excited about. So
basically just want to avoid losing our 5-5. Well, we're not going to lose our 5-5 because we can choose who's going to block it. Right?
Yes, that is another very powerful. A challenger has some really cool nuance to it in that you can use it both very kind of aggressively to target an enemy unit that you want to be rid of, and also you can use it to take dangerous blockers out of the way. Sacrificing the challenger to get through a more important attack. So I think what we're actually going to do here is, let's see. So this guy matches up really well. We've got a cheap little challenger guy who's actually going to match up really well against this 5-2
Oh yeah,
up
he's got
there.
challenger too.
And this is also actually, I think we'll just save this right now. We actually don't have an incredibly compelling case. So we're going to do this. We're going to do this, and this guy is about to be in trouble, although he does have 2 mana. I'll demonstrate one other cool thing here again that we're doing, again just in the interest of pushing things forward as quickly as possible. So we've actually called what's called, I believe bunching is what we're calling it.
Right.
I'm probably getting that term off. But the idea being that you can, in moments where you are just going to swing everything, you can grab all 5 at once, dump them out on the board, that kind of thing. So yeah, let's go to here.
And we should also, I guess, point out that there's a resolve order
yes,
from left to right.
Actually, yeah, we talked about that previously. So it's not something that's going to matter in this case, but combat, as we will see in this moment, does actually resolve kind of sequentially from left to right. And that can be incredibly important in certain cases. You can see abilities like Lifesteal that might change the nature of combat down the line. Darius is one of the best examples. He's one of the champions in this game, and he actually levels up when the enemy nexus is at 10 or lower health.
Right.
And the nice thing is that can happen mid-combat.
Yeah.
So your enemy nexus could be at, say, 14 health. You have some attackers earlier on who get him down below that. Darius levels up mid-combat and blows you away.
Yep.
Cool, so he's just popping out some more of these guys.
So we can buff up one of our damage guys?
Yeah, so let's just take the opportunity to demonstrate what I was talking about. If we were casting, say, this spell in response, they would then kind of resolve in order. This one's just going to happen immediately since it's burst, and it's going to make my big challenger guy here even more devastating. So we are firmly in the driver's seat. Oh, you see a response here? Okay.
As long as our opponent doesn't, well, our AI opponent doesn't have single target removal, we should be fine.
That we should be okay in this case. And we're in a pretty starter deck situation, so you know, we're feeling pretty good, but we'll see. All right, so this is his attack. Doubt he's gonna, oops, should have cast this unit right there. That is one thing to be aware of. Fortunately, it does mean we have a ton of spell mana though, so we're looking pretty good here.
All right, let's see what unit we get.
Cool, yeah, let's do this. When I'm summoned, draw a unit with 5+ power. Ooh, baby. Love to see that. Cool, that was actually one of those shrooms we were just, that we got earlier.
And so what's Lux's?
So Lux, okay, so let's take a look at this art first. There we go. Okay, cool. So this, again, great full art in this case. We've got flavor text going on. Really gonna be fun for League of Legends fans. And so what we got going on with Lux here is we've got a new mechanic. Okay. So she has Barrier. So what Barrier is it negates the next damage the unit would take, and it lasts one round. So the turn the round in which you play her, she's going to have Barrier that'll negate the next damage she takes. And her level up is that she sees you, as in she's out, and she sees this happen. You cast 6+ mana of spells in a single round. Is the thing there. So sounds a little tricky to do. It's going to take. You're going to need to get in the late game most likely when you're doing that. Although spell mana again does help, but when you do it, the payoff is very worth it. Okay, so first of all, she's going to get that Barrier again. She's going to get some increased stats, and when you attack, you are going to create a fleeting final spark in hand. So what fleeting means here is that it is a temporary card. It's going to discard from your hand at the end of the round if you haven't used it. Yep. So this is a great way to give kind of temporary power. All right, let's jump into that final spark. Deals 6 damage to an enemy unit. Fleeting, as we talked about, does cost 6, and it's got a couple traits. So it's fast, as we talked about. This is the fleeting, and it has Overwhelm, which is really fun. So Overwhelm is something that you generally only see on units. Right. And this is the mechanic that's going to allow you to inflict damage beyond what the beyond what the defender's health is. So any overkill goes through to the Nexus. And this is actually, I believe, the only case of this in this initial set of this on a spell. So super exciting in this way. You can imagine this to be super devastating. So she's a ton of fun to level up. And then her unique spell that she'll turn into when you have multiple copies is that you are able to give an ally Barrier this round. So this is great in her case because it'll allow you to just kind of protect her further, and it does also add 3 to kind of that counter for per round. Yep. Cool. So we are not going to be able to play her in this case, but I don't think that's going to bother us too much. So we are going to just do this again.
Slam him down.
Slam him down. We are feeling pretty good. Yeah, I think we can just save these for now. Oh, wait. Flash of Brilliance. Okay, this is a really fun card. So one, as you saw it, is a 6-cost spell. Let's actually check out the log here. Oh, there's another fun thing I flashed over. I'll take a look at. So we've got Flash of Brilliance here. Burst, very powerful, obviously on like a 6+ card like this. And this one actually refills your spell mana after you cast it, so it's almost only a 3-cost. Yep. And it's going to create a random 6-cost spell in your hand. So you can imagine working very well with Lux in a deck that decides to take advantage of that. And in Piltover and Zondex is just kind of a key like spells matter kind of card. And you did see a fun little thing here as well that I'll point out, which is the Oracle's Eyes. This is kind of just, again, one of those cases where it's like, how do we have accessible depth? And the answer here is that we can create situations that can be fairly complex, but then we offer a tool that actually visualizes what the outcome is going to be. So this works both for combat and actually for spells. So let's take an example here that I'll be able to pull off. And we'll do this. Let's say we'll do this. And so as an example, you can see here that this guy is now actually going to fight that guy ahead of time and kill his own attacker, and this guy actually will not take the damage. Right. So it works for both spells and unit combat. Also pull that off because we do not need it. Yep, it's not looking good. Haven't shown you the emotes yet.
Yeah, I was going to say, So that's what they look like.
Yeah,
right?
so we've had a woo. This is fun. Okay, we're gonna have to come back to what our opponent is doing in a second.
Okay.
Quite a good spell in this situation. So this is kind of been a fun thing we've discovered with the League of Legends community over the years, and we're really excited to take into this game. It's just fun little kind of like emote and sticker type things we can do of turning our champions, kind of into memes essentially.
Right.
So you can kind of recognize some of what's going on in here and how you might use these cards or how they use these emotes in the action. So let's just take a look. So we're going to give them the Heimerdinger, the calculated, that kind of thing. That one's a lot of fun. The sad Poro when something bad goes down. The Jinx shocked we saw. So there's a lot of those going on.
And then I guess the bottom right was like well played.
Yeah, it looks like it. Like hey, nice to meet you.
Right.
Let's do this.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you. Okay, great.
Different uses depending on who you are. So this is fun. This is actually True Shot Barrage, which League of Legends fans will notice as Ezreal's ultimate ability in League of Legends.
Right.
And this quite a powerful spell. 7 costs slow, deal 3 to an enemy, 2 to another, 1 to another. So in the right situation, like this one, a 3 for 1. Fortunately, we're not losing our big guy. We do also have potentially the ability to just save one of these, which I think I will take. Maybe not the most critical usage. Oop, I should have checked. Yeah, okay, 1 damage on that guy. Cool, so we're actually going to save our Cytherea there. It's nice to have. Cytherea is a really fun card in this game because she's actually got multiple versions of her, kind of depicting her journey as we go through. So we see Cytherea of Cloudy Field here in our first one. The flavor text and the art kind of convey her arriving in Demacia and starting her journey. And then we've got other ones progressing all the way through until her becoming, what's another cool feature of this game, which is that the champions are not the only named characters. Right. We've got an assortment of never before seen named characters for this to add to our world as well.
Yeah, that's cool. I hadn't realized that. You had player journeys or character journeys in the mix.
Ooh, this is nasty. Okay, so again, part of the kind of aggressiveness and pace of this game does mean that you start to see some truly nasty stuff at the top end up here. So we've got this 8-cost unit here, which when an enemy summons a follower, granted ephemeral, which in this, as I believe you're familiar with, ephemeral means that a unit dies when it strikes or when the round ends. This is a really fun mechanic in this game that has so many different uses. It can be used as like removal in this case. We can put it on units that are very powerful but die the round that they're played, essentially. There's a ton of versatility and it introduces into our system. So we do have a challenge here in that is going to kill the next thing we play. Yeah. But our opponent is pretty low and he has no mana, and we do have this single combat, so I think we're going to be okay. And we got Challenger. We're looking great. I think we're going to be okay here. Cool. Yeah, so, yep. Oops. I forgot that we were on defense in this round. Whoops. It's okay. Oh. We will use this this dude who is actually going to be gone anyway, and we will be okay. Misplays from me, but we're going to be all right.
And we've also got like little poros.
We do,
on the map as well,
this
right?
This is something that is still pretty early on, but we're really excited. One of the things we learned about in League of Legends is that personalization elements, so things like pets, playmats, are really great ways to allow players to spend their money on things that just enhance their experience without putting pressure on our gameplay model, and that's particularly important to us. We're not really talking about that now, but progression and how we've built again a system from the ground up to really support card acquisition in this game with no random packs is something we're incredibly excited about. And personalization long term is definitely going to be an important part of that. So these are just examples right here. There are a ton of poros in Legends of Runeterra. It wouldn't be the same without them. We're going to be working on playmats as well, so you're going to be able to theme your side of the board and things like that. Cool. Interact with your pets, lots of little fun stuff like that. So this is one little cool eccentricity that I really love about our system, which is that a ton of your choice comes down to when all of your actions are modular. When do you do things? When do I take my attack? Do I deploy some units first, risking my opponent deploying units of their own, maybe something horrifying that makes me change my plans, or do I actually kind of seize the initiative and just attack immediately, sacrificing long-term information? It's a whole new axis of just like choice.
Those are the questions I'm grappling with playing this game.
It is tough. No, and again, it's like I said, I think I'm never left. I've never been left with so many, man, I don't know if I made the right call there, which just means I have more to learn in this game and more more skill to acquire. So I'm just that is the fun thing I really love.
And it means the kind of analysis of high-level players will be really interesting as well.
Oh, I cannot wait to see that.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to learn. You know, we have a lot of those folks on our team,
Right.
and it's always fun to learn from them. I'm so excited to see what the community is able to make of just what's good, what's right, see the puzzles that get solved, all that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
You know, while we're here, do you want to talk about this at all?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, cool. So we have here, you can see that at the end of the game, we've acquired some XP, which is actually funneling into the progression model that I was talking about here. And so your XP in this game actually funnels into two separate methods to acquire cards. So one, we've got our region road over here on the left. We're still in the prologue since this is kind of just a starter account here. But basically, just through playing the game, you progress through the prologue, and then eventually you're able to select a region in our game where you want to acquire cards.
Right.
And you can progress down that just by putting your XP automatically going into it.
Right.
You'll just earn cards for free just from playing. That's kind of your long-term just path to card acquisition. And then on the right, we have the vault. So the thing the original thing we landed on back in the day is that packs, while a really cool part of the genre, and certainly can feel great in some moments when you're ripping them open, you find something really sweet. Them being paid is something that we eventually identified as just an ultimately really limiting factor that had a ton of ramifications on everything from card balance to stale metas, a bunch of stuff like that. So we decided to take that step of what if we just did not sell packs? I won't go too deep into that right now, into like all of the ramifications, because it really is kind of the underpinning of so much of what we've done here. But I do want to emphasize that we still love that feeling of kind of RNG, content acquisition. It's still a really cool thing to like press that button and rip that pack and see what you get. So what we actually decided to do is just put it into this game for free. So on a weekly basis, every player's XP will also charge their vault. And then at the end of that week on Vault Day, everybody's going to be able to crack their vaults open based on how much XP they've been able to funnel up to it. You can get it up to max level if you play a decent amount. And then that's just going to be kind of a nice burst to supplement the steady drip that you're getting over here.
Very cool.
The final piece I'll just mention is that we also have direct card purchase, both for earned currency and paid currency in this game. That's the final piece of it for us, which is that we want to give you the full range of options when it comes to card acquisition. We want you to have the RNG bursts that feel great. We want you to have the steady drip. We also want you to be able to go get the specific cards that you want, kind of when you want them. So both with your time or your cash, if that's kind of your choice. So.
Yeah, because you'll get those cards through leveling up as well, right? So you can pay for them, or you can just be given them.
Yep.
And then you just choose what to craft, basically.
Yeah, and if you're particularly after a certain region and you really want to make a deck featuring that region, you can tailor your region rewards to that and be able to get there that much quicker.
Excellent.
Cool.
Thanks very much, Dylan.
Absolutely.
The game's looking awesome. There's a whole bunch more content on IGN.com right now. So if this has piqued your curiosity, come to the site and check it out. We've got deep dives on, basically the making of the game and all the systems that go into it. So yeah, thanks again, and I can't wait for people to get their hands on it.
Same here. Just make sure to go out there and pre-register for a chance at access, and during these preview events that we're going to be running, as well as eventually our closed beta, and just look for the game to you'll hear more from us, and look for the game to get out into closed beta, and then eventually launch in 2020.
Great. Thanks, man.
Yep.